What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the best college football podcast you'll ever watch, the RPO College Football Podcast. I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones, and of course, we got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ray Roberts. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just came back from Cam Newton's 7-on-7 this weekend. It was incredible. It was cool. Got to meet Cam Newton, Pat Man Jones, who's on Cam Newton's team. And I got to meet the Hall of Fame legend, a guy that went to Notre Dame, your guy, Mr. Jerome Bettis, man. So that was pretty cool. I told him he stole my name. It's all good, though. It's all cool, you know. He's a good guy. So it was real fun, and it was cool event this weekend. If you haven't seen our photos or make sure you go check it out on Inside the Hashes on our Twitter page, on our YouTube, and Instagram as well. So, man, it was a great weekend. How was your weekend, sir? I know it was a long Memorial Day weekend. How was your weekend?
It was, but it was I was really busy. Work always keeps me busy. So
Gotcha.
I mean, I was off Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Okay.
But let me give you I got 32 work-related calls on over the weekend. Yeah. So
Wow. What was they burn up their food or something?
well, it
Jeez.
was between fire alarms and I had a building back up talking to like Roto-Rooter and the housing authority and all kinds. It was crazy.
Oh man, that's terrible, man. That's terrible. But
Not a fun
I'm
week.
happy you got some rest at least. Some rest.
Yeah, I mean, like, hey, man, as you get older, you start to realize that sleep is just a waste of time anyway. So who cares? You know?
It really is. It really is. But hey, Ray, maybe you had a hard weekend this weekend, but hey, your team is not having a hard weekend, Mr. Notre Dame. So that's gonna be our first topic today. We're gonna talk about Notre Dame being the number one recruiting class right now in the country. Man, that is incredible. That's crazy. Ray, how do you feel about this recruiting class, man? I mean, ranked number one, grabbing a whole bunch of guys in here, and you're still a guy that been about this recruiting class.
I think it's been really good. I mean, obviously, they're number one right now.
Yeah.
You know, if they're number one the end of June, early July, I'll be even more impressed. I mean, they have done a great job. Marcus Freeman has done a tremendous recruiting job. Him, the whole staff, really, the offensive coordinator, the defense. I mean, everybody. They brought back Harry Eastet, the old offensive line coach, and he's really had a nice imprint on the recruiting class, getting some kids that to come back to Notre Dame. It's been really exciting, but again, I got to see it on the field, and there's one more cherry out there, and it's Dante Moore. I'm just waiting for that commit. I have good feelings about it, but nothing is written in stone, and until it is written in stone, I'll just hope that it happens. So.
Oh man, as a Michigan fan, that hurts my heart a lot because it is looking like it's about to lean to that. I hope not. If you guys don't know who Dante Mario is, he's one of the top recruits for 2023. Quarterbacks, he actually was at the Cam Newton 7-on-7, so we got some footage of him playing in that on our Twitter account. And he's from Michigan. He's a Michigan guy, so he's been heavily getting recruited from Michigan. But it seemed like he's starting to slip away. People are starting to like pry him out of the Michigan's hands. He got some great recruiting. He got Notre Dame, LSU, Penn State, Texas A&M, just to name a few, Oregon. So he got some good schools right there, and it looked like Notre Dame is, and y'all fans, man, y'all really pushing for this. Y'all I've been looking on Twitter and stuff like that. It's insane. So.
Yeah, I mean, I basically watch a lot of Notre Dame content. I pretty much listen to a podcast called Irish Breakdown, which I'm kind of wearing a hat on for them right now.
Yep.
I listen to them like every day. They usually have some kind of content out there, if not every other day. And I pretty much just pay attention to to know how Notre Dame's doing with the recruiting circuit, and they've done great. I mean, again, Dante Moore is out there, and I think again he would be the cherry on top of everything else. But I mean, the other one is Keenan Keeley, a defensive end who's just a tremendous. He's a 5-star player. They've just done a great job to get. I mean, here's the like, and I'm not. This is not. I'm not going to. I'm not getting into this to get into a big conversation about Brian Kelly because I think Brian Kelly is a good coach and he did a solid job recruiting at Notre Dame. But I can tell you this: Dante Moore, if Brian Kelly was the coach at Notre Dame, would not be a Notre Dame player. He's not a Catholic school kid. He's a smart kid, but he's not a Catholic school kid.
Yeah.
And he would have Brian Kelly wouldn't have pushed hard enough to get him. Same thing with Keenan Keeley. He would not have came to Notre Dame if it wasn't for Marcus Freeman being like the head guy in the recruiting trail. But I want to just make sure that like Tommy Rees is the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame. Tommy Rees obviously has got the shackles taken off of him a little bit where he's out there helping recruiting now. And apparently he's pretty good at it also. So I don't want to make it seem like it's Marcus Freeman, but it's Marcus Freeman's mindset that we're not only going to recruit Catholic kids, we're going to recruit intelligent football players. Period. Where Brian Kelly wanted to go the easy way out of it a little bit every once in a while, where he would target Catholic kids because he figured they'd be easier to recruit, and he's not wrong about that. But if you don't tip your fit in every pool, how do you know which one you're going to swim with?
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And talking about good and smart players, Dante Moore, again, I got to see him in person at the Camden 707 in Atlanta this weekend, and seems like a really good kid. I haven't really got a chance to talk to him extensively, like my guy Luke Winslow. So shout out to Winslow. He's a GOAT. If you don't follow him, go make sure you follow him on Twitter. He works for ESPN. He's on great stuff, and me and him are really good friends. He got to interview him. Seems like a real good kid based on his interview, and what I hear from Luke. Like I said, I haven't really talked extensively with Dante Moore, but watching him play, he did some great stuff out there.
What I know about God,
I was about to say he did start off one of the plays throwing a pick, but he had a good short term memory, and then he was on it ever since then. So Reggie was going to ask something else.
Yeah, I mean, for what I know about the kid is that he's a good passer. He's a good athlete, but he's not the kind of kid who wants to run the ball really. He just wants to extend plays and use his arm and his mind. I'm really excited, man. I mean, we'll see what happens. Again, I would rather wait until the end of June before I say Notre Dame is because they've been top 5 recruiting classes before and then kind of always fall out of the top 5 when it's all said and done. So we'll see.
Yeah. When was the last time you had a top 5?
I think 20 I believe 2014, 2015. We had a great offensive line class that year. Notre Dame, like there are positions where Notre Dame excels at, like offensive line, tight end. They've always recruited pretty well at those positions. Defensive line sometimes, edge guys sometimes, linebackers they'll usually get 1 or 2 decent players, but usually offensive line, tight end are like guys that we usually get a lot of good players from. So
definitely. No, 100%, and I agree with that for sure. All right, let's get to our first or our second topic rather. We're going to be ranking every team in the Big 12. I just lost Ray. I think I don't know if that's me or it's Ray, but it looks like I lost Ray. Not sure what's going on there, but we're gonna rank our top 12 teams in the Big 12. So let's do that now. So Ray, if you're out there, I'm not sure what's going on. Let me text him real quick. games, and let's talk about them. So we got the Baylor Bears, Iowa State Cyclones. We got Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, TCU right back. So
Yeah, I'm back, Drum. I actually dropped my phone on on the pad, and it went down. It went out on me.
oh
So.
no, I thought it was genius. So now that we got Ray on, I'm gonna allow him to settle in a little bit while I kind of stall a little bit.
Okay, that's fine.
But you good?
I'm good whenever you're ready.
All right, cool. Hey, man. Hey, this is guys. This is live. Technical difficulties happen. Things happen. It's okay. But hey, we're here. We're gonna make it work. So we good. I'm having internet issues if you haven't noticed already. So it's cool. It happens. It just happens. We're live. Speaking of us being live, you are watching live. We have a couple people in here watching us live. We are an interactive podcast. If something that you want to talk about or something that we said that you don't agree with or you do agree with, you put it in the chat room right down there. We are currently on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter live. So thanks to everybody that is watching us right now. If you want to put in a comment, that'd be great. Or if you just want to say hi, that'd be great too. So let's get right into it, Ray. Your top 12, starting with the number 12. Who you got?
Number 10?
Number 10. I'm sorry, I said 12.
Okay, yeah. You kind of. Well, I got Kansas at number 10. I mean, obviously, they won 2 games or 3 games last year. I'm not exactly sure what their record is, but they're just not. They're just not a very good football team. So, I mean, I kind of feel bad for Lance Loophole, their coach, because he has not been able to get enough good players to go there since. I think it was Charlie Weiss who was there for a year or two, and things have not been good since. So,
Yes, sir. I just turned off my camera real quick because I wanted to turn my light on. Like I said, we're live, and I forgot to turn on my light earlier, so I want to start looking like a ghost on the camera. All right, yeah, Kansas. They lost a lot of talent, and it doesn't seem like they have a lot coming into it. They're a big question mark. Like you said, they only won two games last year with all the time that they had, which is not saying much, honestly. But it doesn't seem like they have much going on with them right now, to be able to sustain or even get any more wins that they had. Like usually a team that's been bad the last year, you can kind of hang on. All right, well, they got some returning players. They got some players that seem like they're better. Maybe some better recruits, but it doesn't seem like that with this team. So kind of hard to judge them. It's also hard to only get two wins out of the season too. So it's possible they might be better, but I don't see them being that much better. So I agree with you, Ray, on that one. All right, who you got at number 9, sir?
I have TCU at number 9. Again, not a whole lot of talent. Gary Patterson, the coach, is usually a pretty good coach, but he just doesn't have a lot of real high-end talent on this team right now. So I got them at number 9. So
I agree with that. Our student number 8.
I got Texas at number 8. I think
Texas
at number 8, man.
Okay, go ahead.
Texas at number 8. I think that I do like Steve Kostesian as a coach, but I think 2 years from now they'll be a better program than they are right now. I think they're still going to struggle this year. I do. I think you can't flip the switch on 2.5 years of really bad football. So.
I give you that, Ray. I give you that for sure. I would have given them a benefit of doubt because I do think they got better talent on their team. They just got Quentin Ewers as well as a quarterback. He brought over some great receivers and stuff like that. I agree. I do agree with you that they'd probably be better in a year or two, more than just this year. But considering how they were last year, and they got better talent this year, I think they'll be a little bit more competitive than what was that?
I think the top 5 teams in this conference are way better than them, though.
I give you that.
And they're the teams they got to play against. So
yeah. Go ahead. All right, I'll let you finish. Go. So
number 7, I have Texas Tech.
Okay. So okay, right. That was the team that
I could flip flop them too. Would that be better? I mean,
and that's what I was thinking.
Going to be significant.
Right. Honestly, I think they might be about the same, but I just think that
Right.
with Texas having the more talented team now, more talented recruits rather. Sorry. It can flip. I mean, Texas Tech, I was high on them last year. Actually, they disappointed me in a couple of games last year. I thought they would have won, but I liked what they did last year. Can they build on that? We'll see. They lost a lot of good talent on our team too. It's kind of a wait and see with Texas Tech for that, and the fact that I know Texas got better as far as talent makes me want. I would pick Texas over them, but I mean,
you're splitting hairs, man.
No, it really is though. It's not. It's not close, but we'll see. I mean,
I understand that Quentin Ayers, and I think he's a talented player. Of course, he's a transfer from Ohio State, so he's got talent. Correct. But again, I had to see it on the field. So
yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I mean, you haven't seen it on the field yet with him, so
it's correct.
You're definitely correct on that. So your next team, what's that? Number 6.
Number 6, I have West Virginia, Coach Neil Brown. I actually like Jared Doak, their quarterback. I think he's a good player. Mm-hmm. I think that they're a good, solid football team. I have them at number 6 because I think my top 3 are going to be way better than them, and I think that the next 2 after that have been better than them. Even though I might as well just give you Kansas State at number 5. I know they're replacing Skylar Thompson at wide receiver. At quarterback, so that's going to be a little bit of a hit for them because as you saw last year when Skylar didn't play, and I know I'm a Notre Dame, I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, and I know Miami drafted him, but that's not why. I think he's a good college player or was a good college player, and when he didn't play last year, their offense was not the same.
Exactly. I 100% agree with that. I've been saying that all last year about this team is that, Kansas State was one of my sleeper teams last year. I think when we did our list, and I thought they were going to be a lot better until I seen that Skylar Thompson got injured. And then once he got injured, you can kind of see they were still competitive, but they wasn't finishing a lot of games. And I mean, Ray, you know how much I like Deuce down there, but without that quarterback, it's a big question mark because you're not going to be able to just straight run. I mean, they're going to have to run. Obviously, this is going to be a really heavy running team this year, I think. But who is their current quarterback?
Will Howard.
Will Howard.
There's still Howard and Adrian Martinez, who's a transfer from Nebraska. I think both of those guys will be solid players. I actually like Joe Irvin, the little fireplug running back, who's a nice little player. I think we'll take over for Deuce, and we'll see how that goes. But I think he's a talented kid with a definite upside. Average over 5 yards a carry last year playing as a backup. So I think he's okay. Yeah, and the quarterback position is right now for sure. But I think they'll be okay. And, Kansas State finds a way to score points. They always do.
They do.
So,
Yeah, and like I said, Kansas State team that I felt really good about them last year. And their quarterback got injured, so we'll see how it goes. I mean, they lost some pieces. We'll see how it kind of works out, especially without having a quarterback. All right, let's get to number 5. Ray, who you got there?
I gave you Kansas State. I have Kansas State at number 5.
I'm sorry, 4.
4. I have Iowa State.
Okay.
Of course, replacing Brock Purdy and Breece Hall, which is replacing Breece Hall.
And Kohler. Don't forget about Kohler.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, but I actually like Hunter Deckers, their quarterback, who's a nice 6'3" kid who's fairly athletic, and Career Brock, their running back, who's a 4-star player who's going to come in and try to at least not replace Breece Hall, but be that number 1 running back. I think that I would say it's a good team, though. They usually have good, solid line play. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I worry about a team that their top players and the most important positions are gone. They lost their best catch passer. They lost their best rusher, and they lost their quarterback. Not saying that Purdy was a world beater or anything like that, but the fact that they lost three pieces on their offense kind of scares me a little bit. I do think their defense is going to be the ones that's going to take over games in this scenario, though. But
Agreed.
it's kind of scary, and to have them at 4, uh, we'll see because I mean this conference is not the greatest conference. Let's just say
Yeah.
that. But to lose those type of pieces on your offense, and very important parts of your offense. Now, Brees Hall was kind of carrying that team last year. Kohler was not as good as before because the passing game was good, and Purdy was they just tell the truth, he was terrible last year. And a guy that was supposed to be
Mr. Irrelevant.
yeah, Mr. Irrelevant. He went from first round pick to Mr. Irrelevant, which is
Correct.
insane, within 2 years. So it's again Purdy not having Purdy there and being able to maybe have a little bit more productive at the quarterback position makes me feel like give them hope. But at the same time, with all the talent they lost around the offense, like if it was pieces on defense too, or like I would have said that, but it was like their most important pieces on offense. So it kind of worries me. But what do you think about?
I just think that Matt Campbell is a good coach, and I think he'll find a way to at least compete weekly to week or
Yeah.
week to week. And I'm not sure losing Brock Purdy is a bad thing, to be honest with you.
I know that's what I'm saying because I mean I'm not trying to say it, but I'm trying to say it because it's like
I mean, like, is there anything that could more fitting than a guy who played like he did being Mr. Irrelevant in the draft?
no,
Is that about as fitting as it gets, man?
it's very fitting. I mean, it was a weird quarterback class too. So
Like you said, like you said though, 3 years ago people were talking about him maybe being a first round pick,
yeah,
and now he's Mr. Irrelevant.
yeah, it's crazy. It's definitely crazy. All right, let's get to your number 3. Who you got?
Oklahoma number 3.
Okay.
If I had a real good feeling about how they were going to, I like Brent Venables. I think their defense will be better, but I don't think it'll be better right away. And he has to get his guys in there. I think Oklahoma will be 3rd or 2nd in this conference just because they have more athletes than everybody else. And I think that Venables, if Isaiah Simmons or I'm sorry, Isaiah Thomas was still there at Oklahoma, I would say I would feel really good about them being like maybe the 2nd team in this conference. But they lost some players on defense. Again, Venables is coming in, probably changing the offense. Not changing a lot of the defense. They're still going to have the same type of, 4-3 base defense. Athletic guys up front. That's what Venables likes to do with his defensive guys.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there's still that learning curve. I think that honestly, I like Venables. I think it was a good hire for Oklahoma. I just think 2 years from now, we'll start to see them be a good, solid team again.
No, I agree.
Unless they move to the SEC, then they'll get smoked.
Yeah. So my while you was talking, I'm trying to go through my notes because the site I have, the rosters are not updated. But are you not concerned that they lost 2 of their starting quarterbacks? Caleb Williams went to USC. Obviously, Spencer Rattler. Not saying he was a good quarterback because it was terrible for them the last year and a half, almost 2 years. But he's now at South Carolina. Who is their starting quarterback?
Starting quarterback will be Dylan Gabrielle this year, I believe.
Oh, okay. How do you feel about him, Ray?
I think he's a nice, solid, functional athlete with plus side, like a plus arm, not a great arm. Good, solid delivery. I think he's a solid player. I just don't know. Again, I got to see it on the field, but of course, he does have Marvin Mims, so that's a good place to start.
Yeah. Marvin Mims is definitely a good place to start. But I just think This is not. I mean, this again. This conferences. I see why you have the rankings the way you are because conferences it's so up in the air honestly because there's so many question marks. You got Lincoln Riley leaving out. Taking a lot of players from Oklahoma now in USC, and it's.
I mean, you have Eric Gray back to lean
Yeah.
on. I
Mhm.
mean, I think that their offense will still be solid. I mean, I just think you need to improve your defense a little bit. And I mean, I don't think they'll finish above Baylor, who I have at number 2. But if they
Mhm.
did, I wouldn't be shocked. I think that they're Oklahoma. They still have athletic players. I just think
I
again
think
they lost their best defensive lineman and their best linebacker to the draft this year. If I knew who they were going to have and how well them guys were going to play, I'd feel a little better. But I
yeah.
think Venables was a good hire for them. So
I'm not worried about defensive alignment as much because right behind that defensive lineman that left, they got Reggie Grimes, junior, a guy that we interviewed when he was in high school, 5-star recruit. He's gonna be a beast. I seen glimpses of him last year. He only had I think 2 sacks last year in a rotation, but he was getting in the backfield a lot. So I think he's going to take that next step and become their dominant pass rusher on that team. So I'm not 100% worried about that part of it. I do think their defense is still going to be better because last year it was just that team was just not clicking at all. Last year it was just like
they're a team that when I remember good Oklahoma teams, I
mhm,
remember good running games and good solid defenses.
yeah,
I have
yeah,
not seen that in
yeah.
5 years.
I mean when
They've
you
been a
have a
team
guy
that's
like
been running
Lincoln
up and down the field trying to outscore other teams now.
Yeah. When you have a guy like Lincoln Riley, who's a quarterback whisperer, if you want to say that, got had Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, those type of NFL quarterbacks, you're
No,
gonna want to pass. You're gonna want to pass. Especially with those, and you
Baker
had good,
Mayfield. Yeah,
yeah,
man. I'm not a big Lincoln Riley fan, but I'll
mhm,
be the first one to admit that the guy's a very good offensive mind, without a doubt.
yeah, yeah,
He's a little annoying, but he's a very good offensive mind, without no question.
definitely.
I
So
think that he
it,
should be allowed to recruit and take kids with him to other teams, but
yeah,
that's the league that he's taking advantage of. So what are you gonna do about that?
yeah. No, yeah, and that's a whole nother conversation. If you missed it last week and the week before that, we talked a lot about transfer portal, NIL stuff. So go make sure you check that out on YouTube. But again, yeah, it's just crazy. So let's get to your number 2. You already kind of spoiled it. You got Baylor there. So what's
Yeah, I
up?
had Baylor at number 2. I think that Baylor has a good defense, and they have enough offensive firepower to compete. I'm not sure who their quarterback is going to be. I think Gary Bohannon is still there, or is he going to transfer? Because I've heard that he may transfer.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Right. I think I do like Baylor being the more one of the better teams. Like you said, I don't know if Oklahoma's going to be good enough to be better than them. Again,
Mm-hmm.
the conference is not the greatest this year, so we'll definitely see how that goes with that, and see if their quarterback do transfer. I mean, these guys are transferring like
There's
crazy.
there's talk that he's going to transfer. Then, and if that's the case, if I knew that for sure, I may. That's what I mean. I could see if Bohannon doesn't come back, or maybe I flip flop them in Oklahoma. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Because they have Brandon Bass and Jacob Zeno, who have not played much yet. So I'm
Yeah,
not exactly sure what quarterback is going to look like for them this year. But I still like their defense. I like their coach, Dave Aranza. I think he's a good coach. I think they're a well coached team, and they're a good fundamental type of a team. So
definitely. All right, let's get to your number 1 team,
Oklahoma
um,
State.
Oklahoma State.
Yep.
I'm actually
Um,
right. Like at first, I was like Oklahoma State, and now when I thought about it, I was like, I like this pick. I like this being your number 1. Explain why
they
you have
were
it.
they were the number 1 team in the conference last year. I mean, and they still have Mike Gundy, and they still have Spencer Sanders. I'm pretty sure they're going to be the number one team in the conference. I mean, I don't see anybody else beating them. So
Yeah, Spencer Sanders was really a fun player to watch last year. I do like their running backs coming in. I think what was it Nixon? He's the one I'm thinking about.
yeah.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be really good this year. And I like how their offense was done last year, especially with Spencer at the helm. We were talking about this last year. He's one of those guys that he's very young and he had a lot to learn. And I think with another year of experience and have that down, he's gonna play a lot better. You could see his youthfulness last year, and they won a conference like you said. I think with another year being there, and he's just going to be better. He's a very athletic quarterback as well. He showed some stuff, and I wouldn't be surprised if like you said, they'll be one of the teams that are number one next year.
Yeah, I'd be really surprised if they weren't. They played the best of any team in this conference down the stretch. Beat Notre Dame in a bowl game.
Yeah,
So I think they had a good season for them. And I still think that they're the best team in this conference. So, I mean, it's not a strong conference to begin with. So,
yeah. Don't they have a really good corner team too? If I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to think who it is.
I think they have actually a couple nice players on defense, but I don't really get into that too much. So,
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Let's get to our next conference now because we just went through the Big 12. Now we're gonna go to Conference USA. Let's rank them up, Larry. Let's rank them up. So we got these teams, and then run down the teams on here real quick. Give me 1 second to find it. We have where is it? Here we go. All right, we have Charlotte. We got Florida Atlantic. We got Florida International. We got Marshall. We got Middle Tennessee, Old Dominion, West Virginia. Oh, sorry, West Kentucky. We got Louisiana Tech, North Texas, Rice, Southern Miss, UBA.
I don't think Marshall is in this conference anymore.
Marshall is it?
I don't. I think they moved.
Whoa. Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I think I remember something like that being said. Where do you think they went then? Let's see. Let's see.
Trying to think of what conference they moved to.
It looked like they're still in Conference USA, from what I'm seeing. Yeah, they're still in Conference USA. They want to move to the Sun Belt.
I thought they already done that, to be honest with you.
Let's see. Universities are choosing this question. Trying to get you this update, guys. Give us 1 second because I just want to make sure that we got it right. All right, so as far as I'm seeing, they are still in there. There is a lawsuit. This is March. This one's right here. It's talking about from March. They went out. Let's see. Yeah, this one's. I got this from March. Once out of the conference, it says not so fast. Yeah, they want it, but Conference USA is not allowing them yet. So they're still there as of right now. Currently. Issue originated from acceptance into draw. So yeah, they put their all right. So they issued the resignation to leave last year, but Conference USA is basically holding them hostage because I guess it got to be like a mutual thing. I guess.
So they still have this split into two divisions now too.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I got right now, yeah.
Wow, I don't have that as I thought they were out. I did.
I don't know. So guys, I'm referencing my information from college football, CBS college football. So I'm getting information from that, and everything I'm looking on here, it is still a split conference with Marshall still in there. I just read up on it, very briefly, very fast, skimmed through it. It seems like they put in their resignation to go to the Sun Belt, but Conference USA is not allowing them to because I believe to switch you have to have an agreement. So Marshall is looking into suing them. So this is an article from March. It is now June 1st. So it could have changed from there. I could be wrong. So for the time being, let's kind of just put them in the mix for now, and then maybe our next podcast I'll do some research, and then we'll fix that, and I'll tell you the story on that for sure once we get that. So Ray, let's get right into it. Let's start ranking your teams from there. I don't. I hope that I don't throw a big wrench into your rankings,
I mean, it's
but
going to throw a little bit of a monkey wrench in it, but I will get it figured out in 1 minute here.
okay.
I just don't understand. I don't. I thought I literally read stuff where they were out. They were out of the conference.
Yeah, let me double check one more thing real quick. While you kind of work through your rankings real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, all right, so I am on their current website, and as of right now, Marshall is still in here on their official website. And double check that. Marshall's logo's at the top of their website, and they do have. Oh, that's last year's game. So let me make sure. Football. And sorry, guys, that this just came up, but this is like I said, this is live. This happens, you know. Things happen and situations happen. That's what I was confused about because I didn't hear that they moved. I did hear some rumblings, like I said when Ray mentioned it, but um, I don't see anything that says otherwise at this point. Let me see. 2020. Oh shoot, man, it's got a lot of old information still on there. It's just crazy. But as far as I see, their logo still on there. I can select Marshall on here right now. Trying to see if I can find something that shows me the Marshalls schedule for next year. So that will kind of confirm that for me. But let's go to Marshall. Let's go to Marshall's website. Uh,
Marshall 69.
yeah. So on Marshall's website, they're still Conference USA as well. Let me just check their schedule real quick before we go on, and then we can figure it out from there. Um, okay, so currently, whoa, they're playing a lot of Conference USA teams though. That's interesting. So this is a very confusing one, guys. So they're playing. I'll just tell you the teams that they're playing, Ray. And we'll assume that they're in the Conference USA because again, when I look on their website, I look at the Conference USA website. Nothing changed from both sides. So both sides still say Conference USA, but they're playing a lot of Sunbelt teams, and I'll tell you who they're playing. So the first team they're playing is Norfolk State. They're playing Notre Dame week 2. They're playing Bowling Green, Troy, Gardner Webb, Louisiana, James Madison, Coastal Carolina, Old Dominion, Appalachian State, Georgia Southern, and Georgia State.
Well,
So
they're
like I
all
said,
Sunbelt teams, though.
I
And that's
know
that's where I was told they were playing in the Sunbelt Conference now. I read that.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just
You know what, Jerome? I'll give you what I have here as my top 11. I have honestly, I had another team left that conference too. I don't remember who it was off the top of my head, to be honest with you.
Let me read back the teams real quick then. So
okay.
maybe I'll jog your memory. All right, like I said, we got Charlotte, we got Florida Atlantic, Florida International, we got Had Marshall, Middle Tennessee, Old Dominion. Was it Old Dominion?
Old Dominion.
Yeah, because
they're out too.
Yeah, because
look at their schedule real quick.
Yeah, Marshall's playing Old Dominion.
Look at Old Dominion's schedule real quick.
Yeah, Marshall's actually playing Old Dominion this year, though.
Yeah, well, I think they both moved to the Sun Belt, though.
Interesting. Football schedule. Let's see, real quick. All right. So while I'm looking at this, let's just assume. All right, I got it right here. They played Virginia Tech, Eastern Carolina, Virginia, Kansas State, Liberty, Coastal Carolina, Georgia Southern, Georgia State, Marshall, James Madison, Appalachian State, and South Alabama. Again, when I'm looking at their site, also it still says Conference USA. It's very confusing. We'll get to the bottom of this, and then we'll talk about it on our next podcast. That'll be our number one topic to clarify all this. But since that is the case, right, let's just assume that they're not in the conference. Let's use your list now, and then if it is, then we'll inject them and see where we'll have them for next week. Let's do that.
Yeah. Okay. You know what I'll do? I'll just give you I'll start at number 11 because now there's 11 teams in this conference. At least that's what my information is.
Correct.
And then I'll tell you where I think like Marshall would fit if they were still with these guys. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I have FIU at number 11. Butch Davis is a coach. Gunnar Holberger is the quarterback. I mean, I always kind of focus on those positions because they're very important. And quite frankly, FIU doesn't have a lot of talent anyway. Yeah. So, there's a reason why I had them at number 11. So, number 10, I have Rice. Were a bad team last year. Going to assume they're not going to be a very good team this year also.
Yeah.
They're good.
Rice always been struggling.
They've had their moments, but they've been few and far between, So, UTEP, I had number 3. I mean, at number 9. Again, Dana Dimmo is our head coach. They're just not a very good team. And like we talk about, the Big 12 not being a great conference. Compared to this conference, they're really good. But I mean, it's like a lower division, like a lower football team. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Number 8, I have North Texas. I actually like their quarterback, Austin Yoon. I think he's a fairly good athlete. I think he's a solid player. Again, I think he's a solid. They're an okay team. Their team is improving every year. I have Middle Tennessee at number 7. Chase Cunningham is their coach, their quarterback. Rick Stockstill is their head coach. Again, they have some talent. They're more of a defensive oriented team, which in these conferences are kind of boring sometimes. So, number 6, I have Charlotte. again, not a very good team. They
Yeah.
were solid last year, though. I mean, they're okay. At number 5, I have UTSA. Lost some talent to the draft this year. Not a great team last year. I don't think they'll come back from losing that a little bit of talent on offense.
Yeah, especially with sincere.
Sincere, yes, he was pretty much was their offense last year.
Yeah.
How did they come back from that is the question. I do like Frank Harris, their quarterback. I think he's a good athletic kid. I think he's okay. I think he's that's something to look forward to if you're a fan of the team. I have Louisiana Tech at number 4. I actually like Luke Anthony, their quarterback, and of course they have the immortal Skip Holtz there as their head coach.
Yeah.
So
I,
yeah,
I
God.
no, I was gonna say I think out of all the teams in this conference, I think Louisiana Tech has been one of the ones that have been on the uprise since they've been a program
Yeah.
last couple of years.
I think Louisiana Tech is an up and coming type of team.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, I have Western Kentucky, who was actually a pretty solid team last year, but of course they got to go through losing Bailey Zappi, their quarterback, who was really good for them last year. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard replacing the quarterback who was everything that team was for them last year. They had Drew Zalby as they're going to be this, and Chance McDonald will compete for the starting quarterback job for this coming season. I don't expect them to be good. I really think that Louisiana Tech could finish ahead of them, but right now I have them at number 3. Number 2, I have Florida Atlantic. Willie Taggart is their coach. Willie Taggart is a guy who was at Florida State. Didn't do a great job there, but he's done a pretty good job at Florida Atlantic. So I'm going to see how he does. And here's where, I have UAB number 1. Bill Clark is their coach. Dylan Hopkins is their quarterback. He's a good, solid player. I would probably have Marshall maybe a notch above them if they were still playing in this conference. But I could see where UAB could compete with Marshall.
Yeah, and that was my issue with the whole Marshall not playing in this conference anymore now, because it's like they would have been the best team, I believe, in this conference.
We're talking about Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC.
Yeah.
And they basically have just made moves on head coaches. I mean, and honestly, that's my thing about it. I don't understand, again, not to get back into that. Why are they leaving the Big 12, dude? They're the king. They could be kings in that conference. They're going to go to the SEC and be a mediocre team, dude.
Yeah, for real.
And more power.
It's like we said this before, right? When we first heard the news, that it's gonna have to be a kind of wait and see too, because it is gonna help their recruiting even more. And there's gonna be players that I think are gonna be intrigued, like, oh, Texas now is a SEC team. Oklahoma's the SEC team. Maybe I should go to this conference because I'll be playing some good competition. It's possible. It's possible. We'll see. And like I said, Texas just got some good players that just came in, and they're gonna be probably okay in the next few years, 1 or 2 years, like we just said. So, with that being said, and you got one of the top quarterbacks that just got to that team and transferred to that team, in that recruiting class, I think that, at least in the Texas stance, Oklahoma, we'll see about how that goes, but in the Texas stance, I think it's a little bit brighter than we think now. I think in the beginning, when it first happened, we was like, oh no, this is terrible, this is a bad idea. But now that they got some guys that came in now, especially when you have a top quarterback that was in a recruiting class, I think that helps a lot. So we'll see, right? We'll see.
I don't think it's a good idea for them. I'm not going to change I just don't think it's a good move for them. I agree with what you're saying about it may help them a little bit recruiting.
Yeah.
I think Oklahoma more than Texas, though, to be honest with you. I think Brent Venables has shown to me that he's a good recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
I like Steve Carcesian as an offensive mind. I don't know if he's a great recruiter though. I don't.
Yeah. Well, I guess because it's just I don't know. Just the fact that they lost Lincoln Riley, and I know I keep blanking on Oklahoma's new coach now. His name,
Brett Venables.
Venables, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that I do think he's a good recruiter. I really do, but it's just like there was a coaching change. There was a lot of players that left Oklahoma. Nobody really came in big time name that really got recruited back into the team. So I just think Texas, as of right now, and we'll see how the season goes because the season nobody played anything yet. If Texas and Oklahoma do not play that well, then I'll be like, all right. Well, if Texas don't play well and Oklahoma plays well, then I'll be like, all right. Now I see Oklahoma start getting people in because they do have a coach that can recruit really well. And now they're going to SEC. But as of right now, how it looks kind of bleak for me.
I don't think that it's a good move for them. But yeah, man, more power to them. I think that right off the bat, Alabama's always going to be better than them. Always.
Oh yeah.
As long as Nick Saban's there, Alabama will be better than them. Now, is there a shot Nick Saban steps down in the next couple of years? I guess there's a possibility. I don't see it because honestly, with his energy level, even at his age, why would he retire?
Yeah.
All right.
And you got Georgia.
Got Georgia.
And I will tell you, Georgia's. And I'll tell you this right now, Ray, because I've been like really diving into a lot of the high school recruiting now that I've been down here.
Mm-hmm.
The 2024 class has a lot of Georgia kids in there, and I know most of them are probably gonna go to Georgia.
Well, it's gonna be hard unless you're. No, the problem is that's exactly what I mean, though, Jerome. Oklahoma and Texas are not going to get anybody from Georgia, but could Alabama? Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah.
You're always going to be in behind Alabama and Georgia in that conference, no matter what you do.
Oh, no, 100%.
So what is the point of it?
No, you're right.
So you need some guys. And here's the other thing that everybody needs to understand. Miami is getting ready to throw some money into their recruiting and their college football team. And they brought back Mario Cristobal, who's a good coach and a very good recruiter.
Yeah.
If they become a good team, that is going to hurt Alabama and Georgia.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, so that's going to trickle down to them other teams too. Tennessee is a team that's on the cusp of maybe being a good SEC team again. So what's going to happen if they get good? I mean, like, again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but man, Oklahoma and Texas, you need to sharpen your pencils, man, and get back to the drawing board because you are blowing it. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be some good entertainment though, seeing how on the outside. I don't know how it's gonna be for the school or for the schools, how it's not fair for them, but I think it's gonna be very entertaining to see how everything kind of shapes up the next couple of years. Because it's gonna
I try to be realistic. I'm a Notre Dame fan, and even with what's in writing in front of me right now, I still say, let me wait and see what happens at the end of June or early July.
Oh yeah.
I'm not putting anything in the bank until I can cash that check, man. If I'm Oklahoma and I'm Texas and I'm watching Miami get better, I'm watching Tennessee get better, I'm watching Alabama and Georgia being Alabama and Georgia, why do I want to be involved with any of that? No, why don't I just stay where I am strong and just let it go? I mean,
it would be better because then you'll be like, well, hey, we have this record each year. And
it comes down to this. Do you want to be the king of the hill or do you want to be in middling hill?
No, I hear you. King of the hill.
I mean, you shouldn't your goal to win national championship? Shouldn't that be like at least mostly? I mean, I don't want to offend anybody. Most Power 5 conference teams, shouldn't their goals to be a national champion? Well, Oklahoma and Texas roster-wise are not strong enough right now Do you think competing against SEC teams is going to make you stronger?
Nah,
I disagree with that.
no, I agree. I agree. Well, that's gonna do it for us today, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. It was a very interesting podcast. Technical issues, information is everywhere. We will definitely get that situated for you guys next week. But thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you enjoy. Make sure you go check us out on all of social media inside the hashes on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, make sure you go check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Where we have all our interviews on there. And make sure you go check us out on YouTube where we're broadcasting live from right now. So make sure you go in there, hit that like button, go subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification button so you can know when we do have these live live podcasts. We do have interviews that's on there. We got some highlights. We got some great stuff that's on our YouTube channel. So make sure you go like and subscribe and hit the notification button on there as well, so you have all that news and all that great content that we have on there as well. Um, and if you want to be on here live and have comments on here, you can by going on YouTube. Or if you can't be on here live, you understand that different times, different things for different people. You go on on a replay game and make sure you put our comments on there so you can we can go on there and we will comment back on any comments that you have on our YouTube channel as well. So that's gonna do it for us today, guys. I'm Jerome Jones. That's Ray Roberts. Ray, you got any closing words, sir?
No, just I'm a little jonesing already for football. To be honest with you, Jerome, I'm like,
Oh man, it's
it's really
100 days.
This is
No,
a
I think it's
different.
like 97 days now, something like that. But
Yeah, like,
it's
but
long.
like it's tough, and the Phillies are playing a bad baseball team like usual, which even makes it tougher for me. So
Basketball's
but
wrapping up.
basketball's done. Sixers have been out for playoffs for a couple weeks now,
Hmm.
so it's like, ugh, what do I got
Yeah,
to look forward to? Ugh.
yeah.
But I mean, we'll just keep on, keep it on, and
Yes, sir.
everything. That's the good thing about Notre Dame being so active in your recruiting. It gives me something to listen to every day. And Miami, is doing very well as far as getting
Yeah, yeah,
adding more talent. Like they've added a lot of talent. I'm looking forward to football season.
yeah. Right, you having
That's
a pretty
why
good season, man.
I'm having a great off season, man, without a doubt. No question about it.
Yeah.
Great off season. Can't wait for the season to start.
Hey, man, Eagles had a good off season too.
They did.
I'm
Eagles
still
did
waiting
good.
on it.
They did very good. I mean, like we all like Jordan Davis pick a side. He's going to play a lot of football for you guys, so he'll work. He'll get on the field, and you guys will be your defense will be better.
Mhm.
I mean, I hate to say it's the old back to if Jalen Hurts can be a good player or an average player.
Oklahoma.
Well, I mean, anybody. I shouldn't say anybody. Most good functional quarterbacks at Oklahoma are going to be good. You're going to put up numbers.
Yeah. No, definitely say, man. I mean, I can't put a finger on Jalen Hurts' season and all that yet. And it's just gonna have to see because I know how he played at college. I wasn't high on him, as I'll talk about all the time. I am rooting for him. I nothing against the guy, the man. I think he's a good kid.
All right.
But
That's one
he
thing.
leaves a lot on the field for me. So I just hope that hey, we got new weapons for him. Offensive line looks really good. Got the running game that we can rely on again if anything does, fall apart. But defense looks like it's going to be at least slightly better, if not better. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. I mean, there was a playoff team last year with Jalen Hurts, so um, it's really gonna have to. It really is gonna be dependent on him, really, to be able to advance further than we did last year. Um, but yeah, man, I'm excited about the season. I hope you're excited about the season. We're excited about football in general. So if you like football, man, make sure you come back. Check us out. We do this every week. We try to have it on Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern time every week. And if it's different, sometimes we'll move it a day or two later. But usually every Wednesday we try to be live. So, guys, thanks again for checking us out. I'm Jerome Jones. That's Ray Roberts. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time. Peace.